All right, let's dive in. In this explainer, we are going way past the usual monsters with tentacles. We're going to find the entity that is the terrifying, all-encompassing fabric of H.P. Lovecraft's entire universe.
Look, everybody knows Cthulhu, right? He's the poster child. But here's a fun fact. Lovecraft himself had a different name for his own mythos. He called it Yog-Sothoth. So that begs the question, who or what is the entity that's actually at the center of it all?
Okay, just let that sink in for a second. This famous line from the Dunwich Horror is our jumping-off point. It's a complete paradox, a total riddle, and honestly the perfect introduction to a being that isn't just some monster. It's a fundamental and frankly terrifying principle of reality itself.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start with Lovecraft's original vision, then see how this wild idea got adapted for comic books and television. After that, we'll look at its surprising evolution in modern games, and finally try to figure out why this concept of an uncaring god is still so powerful today. All right, first up, let's go back to the blueprint. What in the world was Lovecraft thinking when he created this absolutely mind-bending entity? So, you've really got to wrap your head around this massive contradiction. Yog-Sothoth is both the lock and the key. It's an entity that is all of time and space, but at the same time, it's described as being locked outside of our universe. It's the ultimate gatekeeper, holding the keys to forbidden knowledge and, well, other realities.
And these attributes, this is what makes Yog-Sothoth so different from your average movie monster. It's not evil, not in any way we can understand anyway. It's just indifferent. It knows everything that has ever happened and everything that ever will. Its very presence can shatter the laws of physics, and it cares about us about as much as you care about a single bacterium on the bottom of your shoe. And that indifference, that's the real horror.
Now, an idea this big and this strange was never going to stay just in Lovecraft's stories, right? No way. It quickly started its long, sprawling journey through pop culture. And you're not going to believe this, but one of its first major appearances outside the original mythos was in the pages of Savage Sword of Conan. Yeah. All of a sudden, this cosmic, incomprehensible being finds itself smack in the middle of a world of barbarians, wizards, and sword fights. And this just shows you exactly what happens when you adapt something like this. The abstract terror of a bunch of iridescent spheres gets flattened into something way more conventional, a capital E evil bad guy with a clear villainous goal. I mean, for a hero like Conan to have something to swing a sword at, you've got to turn the incomprehensible horror into a classic fantasy villain you can actually fight. But maybe Yog-Sothoth's most famous makeover didn't happen in comics. It happened on television, where it became a recurring enemy for one of the greatest heroes in all of science fiction. That's right, the disembodied, scheming entity known as the Great Intelligence, which first showed up way back in 1967 to bother the Second Doctor, has its roots planted firmly in Lovecraft's work. They don't say the name Yog-Sothoth on screen, but all the tie-in novels make that connection totally explicit. And just like in the comics, we see the exact same change. The cosmic, indifferent principle becomes something, well, something recognizably human. The Great Intelligence is petty. It holds grudges against the Doctor for centuries. It cares, which is the total opposite of what made the original so terrifying. It's a change you have to make for TV drama. You know, a hero needs a villain with a motive. But it completely changes the nature of the horror. From there, the entity found a brand new home in the interactive worlds of video games and anime. And you know what? Its role has gotten more diverse than ever before. Okay, this is where the concept just shows how incredibly flexible it is. In one game, Yog-Sothoth is the classic bad guy. But in another, it shows up as a friendly, wine-loving character. And then in another, it's a helpful guide. It just goes to show how adaptable the core idea of an all-knowing, reality-warping being is once you take it out of the strict box of pure horror. So, we've seen Yog-Sothoth as a cosmic principle, a comic book villain, a TV baddie, and even a helpful NPC. Which brings us to the final and most important question of all. Seriously, what is it about this specific type of horror, the horror of just complete and total indifference, that storytellers keep coming back to, decade after decade? This quote just nails it, doesn't it? The terror isn't that some monster out there hates you. The real terror is that the universe doesn't even know you're here. All our ideas about good and evil, cruelty and kindness, they're completely meaningless to a being like Yog-Sothoth. And that is its true legacy.
Yog-Sothoth isn't just a bunch of glowing orbs or a mastermind villain. It's a symbol for one of our deepest, most primal fears, that in the grand cosmic scheme of things, we just don't matter. That our lives, our struggles, our entire civilization are just a tiny flicker in a universe that won't even notice when we're gone.
The entity is the gate, the key, and the guardian. It offers you ultimate knowledge of everything, of all time and space. But the price might just be your sanity, or the crushing realization of your own cosmic insignificance. So, I'll leave you with this. If you found that gate, would you dare to turn the key?